Okay, hello everyone. And I was getting some questions about the ribs that I posted the other day, so I thought I would take us through the process. Also, too, I want to thank my friends Henry and Yvette for calling this Tony Two Steaks. Okay, so I guess being from New Jersey and the fact that I cook a lot of meat, they decided to give me the nickname Tony Two Steaks. And what the heck, we're going to do a little bit of this today. So, a couple things. I've got these beautiful St. Louis pork ribs. St. Louis style, which is another one is called spare ribs, another name for it. But as you can see, nice and meaty, kind of a nice pack, and all natural. All right, so all organic, gluten-free, the whole 9 yards to make it so exciting. A couple of the other things to make it really exciting for everybody. So one of the things I'm going to prep right away, and I did a couple of these already, is I've got about 6 or 7 cloves of garlic, which I've got right here. And one way to actually do this right is to maybe throw it in a container and shake it and get the paper off on the outside. Another way to do it is just to give it a good smash. It can be fairly rustic because it's really not going to go in your dish. It's just going to kind of sit on the side. So with that being said, a nice little hit on and gets all the garlic out, and we're just going to be stuffing this in the sous vide when we get everything prepped. As you can see, okay, so I'm just putting these off to the side. I did a couple of them already before you guys showed up, and making sure that we're good to go with the garlic. So get this all nice and set on the side here. Next, I'm going to open up the pork ribs, and I've got my trusty knife, which is, by the way, an old tool. This thing is probably almost 40 years old, which I bought many years ago. Apparently it's got a bottle opener, it's got wire strippers in it, it's got a knife.
Vintage.
It's vintage. It's got a screwdriver on it. Oh God, I just did this. Oh my God, good thing I washed my hands before we did this. And also too, that if I get into any sort of scrape out there, we're good to go. Okay?
Like a ninja.
Ninja, right. It's the Sonic stilettos that they saw in the Batman in 1975 comic book. Okay, so I'm going to take this over here. And this nice cut. It's nice coming out of here. Now remember, contrary to popular belief, this red liquid that you're seeing right here is not blood. It's just really water condensation. They've already drained everything out of it, so you don't have to worry about, oh my God, it's so bloody. It's not. Just going to lay this bad boy over here and give it a nice little pat. Dry that bad boy off a little bit. Take that on this side over here. And you can just see that these are just some beautiful, beautiful pork ribs. You know, my wife wishes I would look at them. Look at this pork rib. So what I'm just going to do is, so I'm going to go in there and sous vide them, is I'm just going to give it a nice little cut in half. And very simply, as you can see on this, is I'm going to take it and I'm just going to do some kosher salt. I love kosher salt for this purpose, right? Nice and heavy, grainy. Don't be afraid to salt, right? It's going to go in, and when we do the vacuum seal, it's just going to really permeate and get into the meat and really soak its way in there and draw out the moisture and get itself embedded in there. So it gives you nice flavor. You'll hear different schools of thought on salting on ribs. Some people talk about, we shouldn't do the back. But, I even like this little membrane. Sometimes people tell you to cut off this little membrane here. Maybe I'll just cut off that little piece right here because that's just kind of hanging there. But I like it. So just got very liberal salting here. Okay. Now I've got 2 of these. I'm going to spare you watching me do both. Spare. Get that? Spare rib, spare. All right. So now we've got our handy dandy vacuum sealer. Okay, so I want to give it, just make it, it's got some space. and cut it off. We want to set it to the moisture. And we're going to drop the rib in. And now so notice it fell at the other side, because what you need to do is really seal it once. It's sealing, it's sealing, it's sealing. Okay, perfect. So we take one of our ribs, and pop it in, get it like so. I'm going to take a little bit of Maggi seasoning, just a little bit of it. It's got, you can look it up, it's got some nice spices, herbs. It's for soups and for vegetables, but just a little dash of it. You don't want to, that's a Julia Child little dash. So you don't want to get it in there, so it'll just permeate the meat. And then we got it on, like I said, in the moisture setting. Okay, that's one. Put that in the bath. Do another one. Seal it off. Drop it in. Got the salt in there, a little bit of Maggi. Some garlic cloves. And we're sealing. Okay, got it all set. So I'm going to do a total of these 4 packs. I'm not going to take you through all 4 of them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this up so to see, just show you how simple this is. And so what I'm using over here is the Innova Pro Cooker. And I think it retails for like $100 or $150, depending on where you get it. But as you can see on the interface here, pretty simple to use. You set time and temperature. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the temperature for 165, and we're going to set the timer for 12 hours. Okay, so now it's set and ready to go. We press Start Innova. And you're starting to go. And there we have it. We're going to let this go for 12 hours, and then we'll come back after our commercial break. Okay, so we've got our second set of ribs, and you can see I'm just taking them out of the package. Do a little bit of a pat down. And another bit of a pat down. Okay. And we're going to see here, we're going to take this and give it a nice liberal salting after we cut it of our famous kosher salts. So I'm going about halfway down the rib. There you are. Let's go. Okay. This cut is over here, so Nobody gets cut, especially me. And we do a nice little salting again. Beautiful. Next is vacuum seal these bad boys. Close garlic. Now, if you don't have a vacuum sealer, regular plastic bag, and it's one of two ways you could do it. You could either take a straw and suck the air out, is one approach a friend of mine talked about. Another way to do is just to stick it in the water, and as the water displaces the air, then you can just get decent enough seal that way. But you may have to put a weight or something on top of the bag to keep it down. Because right now, since we've displaced a good chunk of the air out of this, they're staying submerged. Okay, the moment of truth has arrived. We've got our sous vide done. So we've got the immersion circulator. What I did was I actually did it overnight at 165 degrees, just to recap. And then what we did was put them in the refrigerator for a couple of days. So you can actually leave them in the bag for about 5 days. So now what I did is I then got the immersion circulator going again and got us up to 140 degrees so I can kill any bacteria, make sure that it's now food safe to go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take them out and we're going to prep them over here and then we're going to take them outside to the grill. So, as you notice, I was able to stick my hands in 140 degrees worth of water and not scream. That's key. And you get used to it after a while. I was taking a cooking class at the Institute of Culinary Education in New York City one time, and I couldn't even get my hand in the back of the grill one day, on the grill pan. The chef that was teaching the class just walked in and just stuck his arm in there. I was like, geez, I didn't think he had any nerve endings. But he just said to me, you do it enough times, you get used to it. Okay, so as you can see, we've taken our ribs out. They're, you can smell the garlic on them. You can smell the nice meat that's been roasted in there. Of course, with the immersion circulator or the roasting. And what we're going to do is we're going to take them and give it a little bit of a pat down, get some of the moisture off. Because the next step is we're going to take them outside and we're going to grill them. So I'm just taking some moisture off. And so we just take it like this. A little moisture on this side, get that off. Get some moisture on this. And then what we want to do is we want to brown them a little bit. So best way to brown, here's some of the rogue garlic, which is okay if it's on there. The best way to brown them is really to take a little bit of grapeseed oil. And the reason I like using grapeseed oil is that it's a high smoke point, so it won't burn. And what it will also do for you is it doesn't impart any flavor. So where if you use any other type of oil, like an olive oil or peanut oil, you'll get some of the taste from that. But in this particular case, when you're using this oil, it's neutral and it doesn't change the taste. So you get the high smoke content, which means that you can put it on the grill. It's higher than the butter and a few other oils, and it'll give you a nice browning effect. So we're going to take them and just put them in our pan. And next, we're going to walk them out to the grill. Okay, next, we've taken it out of the kitchen right now, and I've got this beautiful Weber grill, which is electric. And as you all know, in Vegas, we live in a condo, so we're not allowed to have any gas or any charcoal or anything that might possibly flare up. So we've got this Weber grill, which has been amazing with a high heat, nice porcelain cast iron grades. And what we're going to do is we're just going to get some color on the ribs. So right now, I'm putting it inside down. And like I said, we're not going to really cook them as much as just get some color on them. We're going to let that go for a while. Okay, so as we are outside now, making sure that we're getting some color on the ribs, we've got to now put together some sort of rub, some sort of seasoning for it, right? So, because I don't know about you, but my ribs don't come seasoned. We did put some salt on them when we did our immersion circulator, and we did put some garlic in there too, but that's kind of about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make something pretty simple, just kind of like a barbecue sauce. Maybe when I say barbecue sauce / rub. So one thing we're going to put in first, and I'm just going to eyeball this. So the reason I do this, it's probably like maybe like a quarter cup of the honey, and probably a teaspoon for each of the herbs or the seasoning I'm going to use. But the reason I'm looking at that is like, sometimes you actually have them in your kitchen and they're actually a different potency because you've had them for a while, things like that. So you really have to make it to taste. So I'm going to give you some eyeballing measurements, but really make it to the way you want it to taste. So first I'm going to put a little base in there of just some of the honey. So that'll give you the sugar that you would normally have in some sort of barbecue sauce that makes it stick, but also too it's not refined. Next, I'm going to put in some cayenne because we like a little bit of kick in this house. Put a little bit of paprika in there so we can get a little bit of color and some of that smokiness in there. And we're not really getting because we're not doing any heat smoke in there. Got some organic onion powder. Pop a bit of that in there. Some garlic powder. Okay. And then we're also good if we need a little bit of acid in there, so get some vinegar in there too. Okay. And basically what I'm just doing is I'm just mixing it up. It's going to be more like a paste than a rub on it. And and I do it as I need it. So if I need to make a little bit more and it doesn't spread out, because like in this particular case, I would probably say that those ribs are pretty sizable. So maybe just add a little bit more to it. And a little bit more of the powders. And a little bit more. Notice I say little. It's like Julia Child, little. A little bit of that. A little bit of that. Okay. And we can mix that up. And like I said, you can do this to your own taste. And maybe a little more on get a little more acid going in there. Just as a balance. And again, just mixing it up. And we did add salt earlier, but probably want to add a little more salt to this one. And I don't want to make it too salty, but most of the salt that's sitting in the ribs, and I keep nodding, is the grills over there. Most of the salt that we've seen on that is probably permeated inside the meat already by now, so putting a little bit on the outside is fine. Pretty good with a nice little finishing heat at the end. Okay, so we're browning our ribs. Next, we'll be adding this to the ribs. Okay, so as we talked about, we had a bit of the caramelization going on there. So I'm just going to show you. Look at it. See, just starting to get some beautiful color here on the ribs. It's nice little grill marks. And I'll just keep after that as we fight the wind out here. Now it's obviously as you can see, they're nice and beautifully browned. I'm going to add my little spice concoction to it. So just brushing it on, a nice little pastry brush. And remember that some of it's going to come off in the heat, so it's okay to be fairly liberal with it. Since I don't want to lose anything, I'm going to lay it down, but just do it like so. Let's get some on the underside. So the ribs right now are hot, so they did come off, just came off the grill. was browning them, as you know. So hence a little bit we're using the gloves and also just to keep the messiness factor down. Okay. So now we're going to put them back in here. Okay, so now we've got this, put a nice little lip rack in here. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to stand these up here. And get it bone down. So this way we don't need to see the meat. And we're going to leave this out here till it gets soaked in a bit. And that'll take, I don't know, about 5 to 10 minutes. And what we'll do is we'll put a nice little caramelization on the outside of the ribs. Okay. And we'll be ready to go when it's not too bad. Probably at the 5-minute mark here. You can see. This is kind of baked in a bit. You don't want to go too much because you don't want to dry out your ribs. But you can see. I'm taking the ribs off the grill. Pretty good here. And what I've done is I put them in this nice tin and they're going to sit here in this aluminum pan. Just to cool off a bit and let all the juices then relax and rest and spread out into the meat. And while we're doing that, I've got some rice going in a rice cooker over here. We're going to make a nice salad, and what we'll do is we'll torture you by making you watch us eat this. But what we'll do is we'll take some nice still shots afterwards and include them in the video and in the post. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you have any questions, post them on my Facebook.